I know, like in the French part, I'm gonna bring up like living single. So I was just like, oh, maybe living Shuggy. Living Shuggy in a Michael Mooney world. He's glad he's got his boy. Nah, but
No, but seriously, someone brought that up recently. Someone brought up Living Single, and the guy goes, "Oh, I never heard of that. You never heard of that? Living Single is on Fox." And he was like, "You mean the Black
Island.
Friends? The Black Friends?" And I
Yeah,
thought about it. I was like, "Oh shit, I never thought about it." It came out before though. All right,
but man,
Maxine.
Maxine, Erica Alexander. Like we was at the movies. I'm saying like the way you knew me and this guy was like the only black people in the movies when we saw Get Out. If anybody is watching this, they don't know. Mike has never seen Get Out. I don't
Get
know
out!
how. I
Get
don't know
out!
why.
Get out!
I only seen it one time. I only needed to see it one time. It's great. It's great. Like
Mm,
I saw Us one
yeah.
time and I didn't like it.
Mm,
But to each his own. But Get Out, I loved. I'm a big fan of Frank of Peele, Jordan Peele. I
mm.
couldn't remember his name for a second.
Us has the guy like in it, Tim Heidecker. He like was a producer on it too.
And I got my
Tim
boy,
Heidecker.
my man, Umbaku.
Oh yeah.
I forgot his name, but he's Trinidadian, so that's why he's my boy. And like when he talks, you can hear his like Trini accent too. But when we was in the movies, speaking of living single, they had a part where his friend played by what's my man's name, man? Lil he had a show too. I'm tight because I forgot his name now. Anyways, but his friend goes to the police, and the police detective is played by Erica Alexander, who is Maxine, who was probably like the best character on Living Single. And I was like,
Porky.
yeah, as soon as she popped on the screen, like as a detective, and she's doing like the movie detective shit. And she was like, "So let me get this straight. Your friend
Mm.
went to visit his girlfriend," and I just screamed out in the movie. I was like, "Maxine, where you been?
Yeah,
Yo,
sure.
where's Maxine?" But yeah, like she was awesome. But when Mike brought it up, I was like, he was like, "I like the one, the sophisticated one," and I was like, "Kim Fields." And he was like, "No, no." So he was like talking about Maxine, but Kim Fields, she's her sister was fine too, Alexis Fields, who was in a lot of shows in the '90s, Sister Sister, Keenan and Kel, and Kim Fields actually
Oh yeah, yeah,
directed
yeah.
her in Keenan and Kel.
Yeah, and I was saying that my brother, he was an intern at like a studio, recording studio,
Mhm.
and the first day on the job, like he's just like, he's probably like, oh, like he like not knowing what to do, like like, hey, I'm just walking around, and the guy was like showing him the different offices, and he's like, it was kind of the scene in Dolomite where the guy's like looking in each of the rooms,
Mhm.
Green. Remember Green? He was like looking at each one. And he's like, all right. Each room was a different like kink or whatever. Well, my brother's being like shown around each of the rooms, and the guy opened up the room, the door, and it was just Kim Fields just standing there, like it was like, and then he's like, oh, and then the guy was just probably embellishing, trying to be cool. He was just like, oh, this is my friend. How you doing? This is Kim, and he was probably just saying that she's probably doing some like recording job there real quick. And I didn't even know the guy. My brother goes, oh, how you doing? He went in for a full on hug, like an embrace, and she was like, then like they lingered like just like standing there, and she's like, oh, you got a thick accent, you New York accent. She was like kind of like flirty with him. My brother was like, oh, you got a thick accent. Oh, you got a New York accent. I can just imagine it now because she was kind of like, if people didn't watch that show, you definitely watch Golden Girls probably, and Golden Girls had that like, what's her name? The New Orleans, like, no, what's her name again? It was on this morning. I was watching it. The sexy one who's like kind of like with all the guys.
Oh, funny. The person that used to be on this show, he knows all of them.
Yeah, you're the
Uh,
Golden Girl freak. It was actually on this morning, and I woke up to
nah,
it.
cause I randomly asked him. I was like, man, like, damn, like all of them are late. He was like, yeah, like I remember. Yo, it's funny as hell. We was at a bar one time and we started talking about the Golden Girls, and he was like, yeah, all of them are dead. Like Estelle Getty. What's my mod? What's Maud's name?
Oh, Blanche, I'm thinking of
Blanche.
Blanche DeVoe. Bite your tongue, Betty White, man. Bite your tongue. She's so
No, no,
awesome.
no. Like he was like all of them except Betty White are
Yeah.
dead, and Betty White is still here chilling in Krilla Manila.
Mm.
But she was on Facts of Life,
Oh
Tootie.
yeah. Mm.
and she, that was a spinoff of Different Strokes, one of my favorite shows. You remember when Dudley and Arnold went to the bicycle shop owners
Yeah,
house? It was like the first like what you call
message.
it?
Message.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, they had a lot of like, cause they had that one episode of like All in the Family where Edith was about to get
Raped.
raped, and then yeah, they talk a lot of heavy shit back in the day on like sitcoms.
Mm. Well, we had it too. But
Shout
Smart
out
Guy.
Norman Lear.
Remember, Smart Guy had that too, where they were doing like a web show, a website, and it was like
Mm-hmm.
it was like surfing. It's like, hey, we'll just wear our bathing
Well,
suits.
but I was telling Mike that like Alexis Fields and Kim Fields, their mom, I forgot her name, something Fields, but she was the mother on the episode of Good Times where Janet Jackson got burned with the iron. She was the abusive mom, and I was like her claim to fame, but she popped up on a lot of other shit. She was on the she played Kim Fields' character's mom on Living Single when the parents came around, and she also popped up on Wayne's Brothers as Pops John Witherspoon, R.I.P. His like old flame when Sean started like an escort service. So it's crazy how these things
Mm.
roll on and carry on.
Yeah, I love the history of his sitcoms.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
and we were talking about like the late night.
Mm.
Supposedly, I mean, not supposedly, they are because they advertised it. They're doing a history of sitcoms
I'll
on
look into that.
CNN. So I can't wait for that to pop up. I'm really sad that the late night one
Yeah,
it ended.
I watched it last night.
It's great.
I actually I didn't even watch those episodes when we were talking about it, and because I just popped that on YouTube. But I want to dive deep into this thing I just found out about. It's called soft or not soft, something soft pilots
So
or backdoor
Skinamax movies.
no backdoor pilots. They're called backdoor pilots. So
Oh
basically,
yeah,
so it's like an episode
I was thinking
dedicated to
about one today. Yeah.
they had the one I am most familiar with is the Dwight Schrute episode of The
Yeah,
Office.
that's
Yeah,
exactly what I was thinking of.
I mean that's what
I
everyone
was
else
like, I
said too.
remember that Shroot Farm. I was like, remember
Weird,
when they
right?
tried to make Shroot Farms into a spinoff?
But they had a bunch of other ones that never came out. There was the shitload on Married with Children apparently.
Yeah, and
So
it's funny.
I'm gonna get
Like
into it.
it's funny when you watch like the old shows, and I have like a random episode where like some side characters like featured like heavily. Like I remember Sanford and Son. You know what's crazy? I watched the pilot episode of Sanford and Son, and like the house looks like completely different. Red Fox looks like he's like 50 and not like 75. But they had an episode of Sanford and Son that was like heavily focused on Grady, go googly moog. And I was like, what? Why the hell is like, where's Fred at? Where's Lamont? And it was one of those backdoor pilots. It led to the Grady Show, which lasted I think like a season.
Well, what about the one that just came to my mind is very probably the most successful is probably Different World on Cosby.
Hmm.
That was one episode, and then they had another one where they went to like a fashion school and it had Naomi Campbell in it. I think, oh, not Naomi Campbell, Tyra Banks.
That show,
You remember that show? It
no,
was
it
on
wasn't Tyra Banks. It was
uh,
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry. Okay.
I forgot what the show was called, but there was a spinoff, and it was
Uh,
supposed to be a show. And it's
your girl
funny
was
as
in it.
hell because if you're talking about representation, because Vivica Fox actually did like DJ Vlad interviews last week that I watched,
Oh wow.
and Halle Berry actually took Vivica Fox's role because, like, God forbid you have more than one like black girl on the same show.
As ironically, I kept just spitting off different famous black women from back then, and I was just like, I finally nailed it. Living Dolls. It was
Living
called Living.
Dolls,
Yeah,
Living
but
Dolls, yes.
they showed it on. But remember the big thing growing up was well, not for
Wasn't
everyone.
Leah Remini on that too?
Yeah. I said
Yeah,
your girl.
yeah.
So this is like the same time as Saved by the Bell, the CRC by the Bell episode too. Hey,
Don't get me started.
that's another in retrospect. No, but they showed. I used to love summer, summer break as a kid, and Nick at Night would turn into like the summer blockbuster week or whatever, block party. They would show like random new shows. test it out, see how many shows, see what show got the most whatever, and then they would bring it on full time. But they had one where it was weird spinoffs, and I don't remember if it was a spinoff. Oh, it's a Who's the Boss spinoff.
Mm.
That's what it's for. Oh, anyway, yeah, it was. She was in one
She
episode.
actually, she started on she actually started on One Life to Live, on one of my favorite soap operas. She actually popped up the week on they did like a special on Live with Regis and Kelly, or Live with Regis and Live
Kathy.
with Kelly and Ryan. I can't remember if it was before
Mhm.
or after. And she actually popped up on it because her and I brought up on when I was talking about Mick Foley, Victoria Lord, Erica Sleazak, who was on our show for the whole virtually like the entire time it was on. So they had that like friendship. They was actually like still friends when she left and she did Who's the Boss. Kind of played a housewife that moonlighted as a call girl, and that was her storyline.
Moonlight. I never saw Moonlight either. I heard that was like a very meta show.